Commander Jinnah Park stood at attention, trying to keep her face expressionless as the 7 alien representatives of the Galactic Conclave stared down at the human delegation from their elevated platform. The grand chamber, with its soaring, crystalline ceiling and pulsing light columns, had been designed to intimidate lesser species. Today it was working. "We have reviewed your petition thoroughly," said the Nexari delegate, his blue skin shimmering under the chamber lights. His voice translator made his words sound almost musical, but there was nothing pleasant about his tone. "The committee finds Earth's application for membership inadequate." Jinnah clenched her jaw. 6 months of diplomatic work, gone in a single word. The human ambassador stepped forward. "We respectfully request the specific areas where our application falls short so we might address them." The Nexari delegate exchanged glances with the Vormak representative, a tall, thin creature with 4 arms and skin like polished obsidian. Jinnah caught their subtle smirks. "Your species has barely achieved system-wide travel," the Vormak said, her voice like rustling leaves. "Your weapons are crude, your medicine primitive, your grasp of quantum mechanics is charming at best." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Even some of the lesser species observers joined in, eager to show solidarity with the powerful. "Earth has made remarkable progress in the last century," the human ambassador argued. "Our adaptability," interrupted the Tralax delegate, a bulky reptilian with scales that changed color with his emotions. Currently, they were an amused orange. "Is that what you call your endless wars? Your pollution? Your tendency to solve problems with violence?" Jinnah felt her cheeks burn. They weren't wrong about humanity's flaws, but they were deliberately overlooking everything good about her species. "The conclave requires members who can contribute meaningfully to our collective," the Nexari continued. "Perhaps in another century, humans might reach the minimum threshold for consideration. Until then, we've granted you limited trading rights in Sector 7. Be grateful for that courtesy." With that, the platform rose higher, physically and symbolically elevating the committee above the humans. "This session is concluded," announced the chamber AI. The human delegation walked out in silence, faces tight with humiliation. Jinnah trailed behind, watching the backs of her teammates. They had prepared for rejection, but not mockery. Once, aboard their ship, the Earth representative to the conclave, a dignified older man with gray at his temples, turned to Jinnah. "Commander Park, I believe you have calls to make." Jinnah nodded sharply. "Yes, sir." She made her way to the secure communications room, dismissed the technician with a look, and locked the door. After activating 3 separate security protocols, she opened a quantum encrypted channel to Earth. Admiral Taewon Kim's weathered face appeared on the screen. His eyes asked the question before his mouth did. "It's as we expected, sir," Jinnah reported. "Complete rejection. They didn't even consider our technological developments or cultural achievements. They laughed at us." The Admiral's expression hardened. "Laughed, did they?" "Like we were children playing with toys," Jinnah confirmed. "They've granted us minimal trading rights in one sector, probably so they can keep monitoring us." Admiral Kim was silent for a moment, his eyes distant, calculating. "Did you detect any suspicion about our activities near Saturn?" "None, sir. They think our shipyards are building basic transport vessels and defensive platforms. The Nexari delegate specifically mocked our crude weapons." "Good." Kim nodded slowly. "Commander Park, I'm authorizing Phoenix Protocol, effective immediately." Jinnah felt a chill run down her spine. This was it. The contingency they had hoped to avoid. "Understood, sir. Activation code?" "Sunrise 7 Delta Echo." She entered the code into her secure pad. The system pulsed green in confirmation. "It's done," she said quietly. "Return to Earth immediately," the Admiral ordered. "Your new assignment begins as soon as you land. The Conclave has made their position clear. We're not welcome as equals. So be it." Jinnah hesitated. "Sir, do you think we're making the right choice?" Once we reveal the thunderstorm, there's no going back. Admiral Kim's expression softened slightly. Jinnah, for 3 decades we've sent diplomats. For 3 decades they've moved the goalposts. Meanwhile, they've harvested resources from our solar system's edge, intercepted our communications, and treated us like amusing pets. Did you know the Vormak have a betting pool on how long before we destroy ourselves? No, sir. The galaxy thinks we're backwards, violent, and simple. They've underestimated us at every turn. His eyes gleamed with fierce pride. Let them laugh. In 3 months they'll see what humans are truly capable of when pushed aside one too many times. Jinnah felt a surge of conviction. The Admiral was right. Humanity had united like never before to build their response to the Conclave's dismissal. The thunderstorm wasn't just a battleship, it was a statement. "I'll be on the next transport home," she promised. As the communication ended, Jinnah stood alone in the quiet room, thinking about the massive vessel hidden in Saturn's rings, about its revolutionary technologies developed in secret, and about the expressions that would cross those alien faces when humanity finally revealed what they had created. Let them laugh for now. Soon enough, they would understand. Chief Engineer Hanbin Lee floated carefully through the massive construction bay, his magnetic boots occasionally connecting with the metal walkway to adjust his direction. Around him, Saturn's rings provided the perfect visual cover for humanity's greatest secret. The shipyard itself was a marvel of engineering, completely undetectable to standard conclave scanning technology, thanks to a combination of gravity lensing and signal-absorbing materials reverse-engineered from a crashed Nexari scout ship 15 years ago. But the shipyard paled in comparison to what it contained. "Beautiful, isn't she?" came a voice behind him. Hanbin turned to see Lieutenant Sumi Kang drifting toward him, her dark eyes reflecting the same pride he felt. "Every time I see her, I can hardly believe we built her," Hanbin admitted, turning back to gaze at the HSS Thunderstorm. The battleship stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, its dark hull absorbing rather than reflecting light. Unlike the sleek organic lines of conclave vessels, the Thunderstorm had a functional, almost industrial appearance, a deliberate choice to reinforce the aliens' underestimation of human aesthetics and capabilities. "Final systems check is complete," Sumi reported, pulling up a holographic display from her wrist unit. "The gravitational displacement engines exceeded expectations in the last test. We're achieving 137% of projected efficiency." Hanbin nodded with satisfaction. The aliens never pursued this technology because their mathematical models showed it would be unstable. They didn't account for the adaptive algorithms we developed. "That's been their mistake all along," Sumi said, swiping through diagnostic reports. "They assume if they couldn't make something work, no one can." A notification blinked on both their displays simultaneously. Admiral Kim was calling a final briefing for all department heads. They made their way through the shipyard's curved corridors toward the command center, passing hundreds of workers rushing to complete final preparations. The energy in the air was palpable. Everyone knew they were on the verge of changing humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The command center buzzed with activity as Hanbin and Sumi entered. Officers from every Earth nation worked side by side, their former borders and conflicts forgotten in the face of a united purpose. Admiral Kim stood at the center, his normally stern face showing rare excitement. "I've just received word," he announced as the room quieted. "The diplomatic team has returned from the conclave with confirmation of what we suspected. We've been denied membership again, this time with explicit mockery of our technological capabilities." A murmur ran through the assembled officers. "Commander Park will be joining us tomorrow as our new tactical officer," the Admiral continued. "In exactly 12 days, we will reveal ourselves to the conclave." He gestured, and a holographic map of nearby star systems appeared above the central table. "We've received troubling news. The Nexari have moved against the Telleran systems here, and here." 3 points of light pulsed red on the map. "The Tellerans were the only species to support our membership bid. This is no coincidence." Hanbin felt a chill. The Tellerans were a peaceful species with limited defensive capabilities. They had befriended early human explorers, sharing cultural knowledge and standing up for Earth in conclave meetings. "Are we ready to help them?" asked Medical Director Jun-Ho Yu, voicing what everyone was thinking. Admiral Kim's expression hardened. "That's why I've called you all here. Our launch was scheduled for next month, but the Tellarans don't have that long. I'm authorizing immediate deployment. The thunderstorm leaves in 72 hours. The room erupted in voices. Hanbin exchanged a worried glance with Sumi. "Admiral," he spoke up. "The secondary shield generators on decks 30 through 45 haven't completed final testing, and the adaptive hull plating still has calibration issues under certain energy frequencies." "Can the ship fight?" the Admiral asked bluntly. Hanbin hesitated, then straightened his shoulders. "Yes, sir. The primary systems are combat ready. We just won't have full redundancy in all areas." "Then we go," Kim decided. "We'll finish the testing en route. Billions of lives depend on what we do now." As the meeting broke up into urgent action teams, Hanbin found himself standing with Sumi before the observation window again, looking at their creation. 3 years of work," Sumi said quietly. "All those nights we thought we'd never solve the shield modulation problems or the power distribution grid." Hanbin smiled slightly. "Remember when the first antimatter containment test nearly vaporized the entire facility? And now we're about to take her into battle," Sumi said, her voice a mixture of pride and apprehension. Below them, crews swarmed over the thunderstorm like ants, loading supplies and making final adjustments. The massive kinetic accelerator, cannons were being locked into their housing for the first time, each one capable of launching projectiles at speeds that could punch through conclave shields as if they were tissue paper. "The conclave thinks we're still figuring out basic space travel," Hanbin said. "They have no idea what's coming." That evening, Hanbin sat alone in his quarters, recording what might be his final message to his family on Earth. If the mission failed, if the thunderstorm wasn't everything they hoped it would be, humanity might face consequences far worse than ridicule. "We didn't want war," he told the camera quietly. "We tried diplomacy for 30 years, but when they attacked our only friends, they crossed a line. Tomorrow, we show the galaxy that humanity won't be pushed aside or laughed at anymore. Tomorrow, we take our place among the stars." As he ended the recording, an alert sounded. Admiral Kim's voice came over the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the Admiral. We've just received word that the Nexari have begun orbital bombardment of Tellaran civilian centers. Our timeline has been accelerated. The HSS Thunderstorm deploys in 12 hours. Make ready." Hanbin closed his eyes briefly, then grabbed his equipment bag. There would be no sleep tonight. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do. The HSS Thunderstorm slipped silently through the darkness between stars, its revolutionary gravitational engines leaving barely a ripple in spacetime. On the bridge, Captain Do-hyun Choi sat in the command chair, outwardly calm despite the tension knotting his stomach. After 3 days of faster-than-light travel, they were about to arrive at their destination, a conclave outpost near the Eye. "Tellaran home system. Transitioning to normal space in 30 seconds, announced navigator Yujin Woo, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. Do-hyun glanced around the bridge. Every officer was focused intently on their station. They had trained for this moment for months, but simulation was one thing. Reality was another entirely. "All departments report ready status," said First Officer Jae-won Ryu from his position. To the right of the captain's chair, Do-hyun nodded. "Weapons? Kinetic accelerators charged and ready," replied Weapons Officer Sung-min Hwang. "Hull plating at full adaptation capability. Communications?" Communications Officer Ji-ho Yoon looked up from his console. "All frequencies monitored. Translation matrix updated with latest conclave dialects." "Very well." Do-hyun straightened in his chair. Tactical display. A 3-dimensional projection appeared in the center of the bridge, showing their destination, a large conclave station orbiting a small rocky moon. Several vessels surrounded it, including 2 large Nexari warships recognizable by their distinctive crescent shape. 5 seconds to arrival," said Yujin. Do-hyun took a deep breath. Shields at maximum. Initiate passive scan protocols only. The starfield outside the viewport stretched and then snapped back into normal space as the thunderstorm completed its jump. The massive human vessel emerged just outside the sensor range of the conclave station. Almost immediately, Jiho's console lit up. "Captain, I'm detecting distress signals. Multiple frequencies, multiple species." "On screen," Do-hyun ordered. The tactical display shifted, showing two Nexari warships firing on a smaller vessel. The smaller ship was clearly damaged, trailing debris as it attempted to reach the conclave station. "That's a Teleran passenger liner," First Officer Ryu said grimly. "Civilian configuration. Magnify," Do-hyun commanded. The image zoomed in, revealing escape pods launching from the crippled vessel. Some were being targeted by Nexari weapons. "They're firing on civilians," Sung-min said, disbelief in his voice. Do-hyun's jaw tightened. "Move us in. Full power to engines." The thunderstorm surged forward, covering the distance to the conflict in seconds. As they approached, they could see chaos around the station itself. Several smaller ships exchanging fire while defense systems tried to maintain a protective perimeter. "Sir, the station is also under attack," reported Sensor Officer Min Jae-kang. "Internal explosions detected. I'm reading thousands of life signs in distress." "What's happening?" Do-hyun demanded. "It appears to be some kind of raid," First Officer Ryu said, analyzing incoming data. "The Nexari are targeting Teleran ships and personnel, but other species are getting caught in the crossfire. The station's defenses are trying to maintain neutrality." Jiho looked up from his console. "We've been detected. Incoming communication from the Nexari flagship." On screen, Do-hyun ordered. The tactical display was replaced by the image of a Nexari commander, his blue skin adorned with gold markings denoting high rank. His multiple eyes narrowed as he took in the unfamiliar ship and human crew. "Unidentified vessel. This is Commander Vexala of the Conclave Security Force. This area is under Conclave jurisdiction. State your identity and purpose immediately." Do-hyun rose from his chair. "This is Captain Do-hyun Choi of the Earth vessel HSS Thunderstorm. We are responding to distress signals and offering humanitarian assistance." The Nexari commander's eyes widened slightly at the mention of Earth. Then his expression shifted to one of amusement. "Earth? The primitive world? Return to your system, humans. This is an internal conclave security operation." "Security operation?" Do-hyun's voice hardened. "Your vessels are firing on civilian escape pods. We're detecting thousands of non-combatants in danger. We offer our assistance in evacuation efforts." The Nexari laughed, a sound like cracking ice. "Your assistance? What can your primitive vessel possibly offer? This situation is beyond your understanding. Leave now, or be destroyed along with the Teleran sympathizers." The communication cut off abruptly. "Sir," Jiho reported, "I've established contact with the station. They're requesting immediate evacuation assistance. Their life support is failing in multiple sections." Do-hyun turned to his first officer. "Opinions?" Jaewon's expression was grim. "The Nexari don't know our capabilities. They think we're an easy target if we interfere." "All the better," Do-hyun said quietly. "Tactical assessment?" "The nearest Nexari warship is turning toward us," Sung-min reported. "Weapons charging. They're powering up their main energy cannons." Do-hyun settled back into his command chair. "This is it then. Sound battle stations. Shields at maximum." Red alert lights bathed the bridge in a crimson glow as the crew secured for combat. "Sir," Jiho called out, "the station is transmitting their evacuation protocols. Over 3,000 civilians are trapped in the damaged sections." "Acknowledged," Do-hyun said. "Maintain course. Prepare evacuation shuttles and medical teams." The bridge fell silent as the Nexari warship grew larger on their view screen. It was an impressive vessel by any standard, nearly the size of the Thunderstorm, bristling with energy weapons that glowed with gathering power. "They're hailing us again," Jiho reported. "Ignore it," Do-hyun ordered. "They've made their position clear." "Incoming fire!" Sung-min shouted. A blinding beam of energy, lanced out from the Nexari warship, striking the thunderstorm head-on. The bridge crew braced for impact, but there was only a slight vibration as the shields absorbed the blast completely. "Shield status?" Do-hyun asked calmly. "Shields holding at 97%, reported Engineering Officer Hye-jin Song, sounding almost surprised despite months of simulations. "The adaptive matrix is already reconfiguring to better absorb their specific energy frequency." The Nexari ship fired again, this time with all forward batteries. Again, the thunderstorm's shields held, with minimal power loss. "They're scanning us," Minjae reported. "They seem confused." "I imagine they are," Do-hyun said with grim satisfaction. "Weapons Officer Huang, target their weapon systems only. Minimal force, precision strikes. Let's show them what humanity can do." The thunderstorm's kinetic accelerators hummed to life, launching projectiles at a fraction of their maximum power. The specialized tungsten core rounds crossed the space between the ships in milliseconds, passing through the Nexari shields as if they weren't there and striking the weapon emplacements with surgical precision. On the view screen, the Nexari vessel's main cannon exploded in a spray of debris and vented atmosphere. "Record everything," Do-hyun ordered. "Transmit on all conclave frequencies." The human battleship moved past the crippled Nexari warship, heading directly for the station and the civilian ships still under attack. "Sir," Jiho reported with a note of wonder in his voice, "every vessel in the system is hailing us now." Do-hyun allowed himself a small smile. "Tell them help has arrived, and inform the Nexari commander that Earth is no longer accepting their mockery." News of the HSS Thunderstorm's intervention spread through conclave space at faster-than-light speeds. Within days, footage of the human battleship effortlessly neutralizing a Nexari warship and rescuing thousands of civilians had been viewed on every major world. The conclave leadership, initially dismissive of reports about an advanced Earth vessel, found themselves unable to ignore the evidence playing on repeat across their information networks. Admiral Taewon Kim stood on the observation deck of the Thunderstorm, watching as their ship approached Nexus Prime, the central world of the Galactic Conclave. Unlike their previous confrontation, they now traveled with an escort, though whether as honored guests or dangerous prisoners remained unclear. "Quite a view," commented Commander Jinna Park as she joined him at the viewport. The Admiral nodded. The capital world of the Conclave was impressive, a massive ring-world structure encircling a blue-white star, housing representatives from over 200 species. Thousands of ships moved in carefully coordinated patterns around the megastructure. "They've assigned us a landing platform in the diplomatic sector," Jinna reported. "The full conclave assembly has been convened. They're not sure whether to thank us or condemn us," the Admiral said with a hint of satisfaction. "We disrupted their narrative about humanity, and they don't quite know how to respond." The ship began its descent toward the ring-world surface. As they neared their designated landing zone, they could see a crowd had gathered, representatives from dozens of species, along with what appeared to be security forces. "Security Chief Kwan is requesting your presence on the bridge, sir," Jinna said. "She says it's urgent." When they arrived on the bridge, Security Chief Minji Kwan was hunched over her console, her face illuminated by the blue glow of encrypted data streams. "What have you found?" Admiral Kim asked. Minji looked up, her expression troubled. "While monitoring conclave communications, I detected unusual patterns in their secure channels. I've been working to decode them." She gestured to her screen. "Look at this." The Admiral leaned in, studying the translated text. His expression darkened. "Are you certain about this?" "I've triple-checked the translations," Minji confirmed. "These are communications between senior conclave officials, specifically the Nexari High Commissioner and several members of the Zolari delegation." Jinna read over their shoulders, her eyes widening. "They've been deliberately blocking Earth's membership for decades, and not just Earth. Dozens of emerging species." "It's worse than that," Minji said quietly. "They've been engineering conflicts between lesser species, then harvesting resources from the devastated worlds while the populations are vulnerable. The attack on the Telleran system wasn't just about punishing our allies. It was part of a resource acquisition plan that's been in motion for years." Admiral Kim straightened, his jaw tight. How widespread is this corruption? Not all conclave species are involved, Minji replied. From what I can tell, it's primarily the three most powerful factions, the Nexari, Zolari, and Veldari. They form a hidden council that manipulates conclave policies to maintain their dominance. A communications officer interrupted. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Conclave Welcoming Committee. They're requesting your presence at the landing platform. Copy that, the Admiral replied. He turned to Minji. Keep digging. I want everything you can find on this hidden council. Commander Park, you're with me. 20 minutes later, Admiral Kim and Commander Park stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the Conclave, surrounded by thousands of representatives from across the galaxy. The chamber dwarfed even the most impressive human structures, its ceiling so high it disappeared into atmospheric haze. The Nexari High Commissioner, a tall figure whose blue skin was adorned with intricate gold patterns, addressed them from the central podium. Admiral Kim of Earth, he began, his translated voice echoing through the chamber. Your vessel's intervention at Outpost Sigma 7 was unexpected. The Conclave acknowledges your assistance in the evacuation effort. The Admiral inclined his head slightly but remained silent. However, the Commissioner continued, your military vessel entered Conclave space without authorization and engaged with our security forces. These actions cannot go unaddressed. A murmur ran through the assembled representatives. We were responding to distress signals, Admiral Kim replied, his voice steady. Your forces were firing on civilian evacuation pods. Would you have preferred we ignore those calls for help? The Nexari Commissioner's facial membranes flickered, the equivalent of a frown. The situation was complex. Your understanding of Conclave security matters is limited. Perhaps, the Admiral agreed mildly. Just as your understanding of human capabilities appears to have been limited. A ripple of reaction moved through the assembly, some species showing signs of amusement, others discomfort. The technological capabilities of your vessel are noteworthy, the Commissioner acknowledged reluctantly. This raises questions about Earth's previous membership applications, which claimed far more modest technological achievements. Admiral Kim smiled thinly. We learned from experience that the Conclave responds to strength. After decades of rejection, we decided a demonstration was in order. Before the Commissioner could respond, a new figure approached the central podium, a massive armored representative of the Zolari species. His carapace gleamed under the chamber lights, and his forearms were decorated with military insignia. I'm Supreme Commander Drak of the Zolari Defense Force, he announced. The human vessel has demonstrated impressive technology, but a single engagement against an unprepared opponent proves little. He turned to face Admiral Kim directly. If humans wish to be taken seriously by the Conclave, I propose a formal challenge, a combat trial, as is traditional when new species seek to join our ranks. The Admiral's expression remained neutral, though Jinnah could see his eyes narrow slightly. What exactly are you proposing, Supreme Commander? A simple test, the Zolari replied. Your thunderstorm against our champion warship, the Void Cutter, controlled conditions, non-lethal combat. If your vessel prevails, Earth will be granted provisional Conclave membership. The Nexari Commissioner looked displeased at this intervention, but said nothing. And if we decline this challenge? Admiral Kim asked. Then you will be escorted from Conclave space, the Zolari commander replied. And any future Earth vessel found beyond your system boundaries will be considered hostile. Jinnah leaned close, to the Admiral's ear. Sir, this feels like a trap. They're too eager to test our capabilities. The Admiral nodded almost imperceptibly. Then he addressed the assembly. The Conclave rejected Earth's peaceful applications for 30 years. Now that we've demonstrated our capabilities, you wish to test them further. Very well. We accept your challenge, on one condition. The combat trial must be broadcast to all Conclave worlds, unedited and without delay. The Zolari commanders, mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement, Agreed, prepare your vessel. The trial begins tomorrow. As they were escorted back to their ship, Jinna spoke quietly. They're planning something. The Zolari wouldn't issue this challenge unless they believed they could win. Admiral Kim nodded. Of course they are. But so are we. Chief Kwan's discoveries may prove more valuable than any weapon system on the Thunderstorm. You're not planning to reveal what we know? The Admiral's eyes gleamed with determination. Not yet. First, let's give them exactly what they've asked for, a demonstration they'll never forget. The designated combat zone, a sprawling asteroid field at the edge of the Nexus system, shimmered with the distortion fields that would contain the upcoming battle. Hundreds of observer vessels positioned themselves at safe distances, their sensor arrays directed toward the center of the arena where Earth's fate would be decided. Aboard the HSS Thunderstorm, Admiral Taewon Kim moved through the corridors, with purposeful strides, stopping occasionally to speak with crew members. Their faces showed a mixture of determination and tension. They all understood what was at stake. Final systems check, he ordered as he entered the bridge. I want status reports from all departments. Captain Do-hyun Choi nodded, relaying the order through the ship's communication system. Within minutes, the updates began flowing in. Engineering reports, all systems nominal. First Officer Jae-won Ryu announced. Chief Engineer Lee has the gravitational displacement engines at 100% capacity. Weapon systems fully operational, reported Weapons Officer Sung-min Hwang. Kinetic accelerators charged and ready, though still configured at reduced power as ordered. Adaptive hull plating at maximum sensitivity, added Defensive Systems Officer Hyejin Song. Medical team standing by, though hopefully unnecessary. Admiral Kim nodded, studying the tactical display where the Zolari warship Void Cutter had just entered the combat zone. Even at this distance, the vessel was impressive, nearly 3 kilometers in length with an unusual configuration of angular protrusions and recessed weapon ports. What do we know about their capabilities? He asked. Security Chief Minji Kwan stepped forward. The Void Cutter represents the pinnacle of Zolari military technology. From the intercepted communications I've analyzed, it appears to be equipped with a previously unseen weapon system, something they call a phase disruptor. Details are sparse, but it seems designed to bypass conventional shields. They built it specifically for this encounter, Commander Jinna Park observed. They've been planning this since our first appearance at the outpost. Of course they have, Admiral Kim said with a grim smile. They need to put us in our place, to show the rest of the conclave that humanity isn't as advanced as we appear. Incoming transmission from the conclave moderator, announced Communications Officer Ji-ho Yoon. The main view screen shifted, to show a tall, willowy alien with pale, translucent skin, a Vethran, one of the conclave's neutral judiciary species. Representatives of Earth, the moderator began. The terms of this trial have been established. No lethal force is permitted. The engagement will continue until one vessel signals surrender or is rendered unable to continue. The combat zone is contained by distortion fields to prevent collateral damage. Both vessels have been equipped with conclave monitoring devices to ensure compliance with these terms. The Admiral nodded his acknowledgement. Understood. The Thunderstorm is ready. Then let the trial commence, the moderator declared, and the transmission ended. The bridge crew took their battle stations, faces set with concentration. On the tactical display, the Void Cutter began moving toward them. They're powering weapons, reported Sensor Officer Min Jae Kang. Energy signatures unlike anything we've encountered before. Admiral Kim settled into the command chair. Defensive. Posture. Minimal evasive maneuvers only. Let them come to us. Commander Park looked at him sharply. Sir, we don't know what their weapons can do. Exactly, he replied quietly. And we need to find out before we commit to a strategy. Weapons Officer Huang, power kinetic accelerators to 10% but do not fire. Let's see what they've got first. The Zolari warship closed rapidly, its hull gleaming in the reflected light of the distant sun. Suddenly, multiple ports opened along its flanks, revealing weapon emplacements that began to glow with building energy. Incoming fire, shouted Min Jae. Brilliant beams of coherent energy lanced out from the void cutter, striking the thunderstorm's shields with unprecedented force. The human vessel shuddered under the impact. "Shield status," Admiral Kim demanded. "Shields at 82% and dropping," Jin reported, her voice tense. "These aren't standard energy weapons. They're generating some kind of phased particle field that's partially bypassing our defenses." "Adjust shield harmonics," ordered the Admiral. "Rotate frequencies across the spectrum." The Zolari ship fired again, this time from different angles, forcing the thunderstorm to absorb impacts across its hull. Alarm indicators flashed on multiple consoles. "Shields at 64%, Jin updated. "The adaptive algorithms are working, but slowly. They're using frequencies we've never encountered." "Sir," Minjae called out. "They're transmitting the battle to all conclave worlds. The commentary is, they're suggesting we're overmatched." "Admiral," Kim's expression remained composed despite the situation. "Let them think that. Continue defensive operations. No return fire yet." For the next 15 minutes, the thunderstorm endured a relentless assault, its shields gradually weakening under the specialized Zolari weapons. The bridge lighting flickered occasionally as power was diverted to critical systems. "Shields at 31%, Jin reported grimly. "Sections of the outer hull have taken damage. Decks 17 through 22 reporting minor breaches, automatically sealed." On the tactical display, the Zolari vessel executed a complex maneuver, positioning itself for what appeared to be a final decisive attack run. "They're charging their main weapon array," Minjae announced. "Energy readings are off the charts." Admiral Kim leaned forward in his chair. "Now," he said quietly, "activate combat evolution system." The command triggered a transformation throughout the ship. Panels that had appeared to be standard hull plating reconfigured, revealing previously concealed systems. The thunderstorm's power signature shifted dramatically as secondary reactors came online. "Combat evolution system active," reported First Officer Ryu. "All adaptive systems engaged." The Zolari ship fired its main weapon, a massive beam of energy that struck the thunderstorm dead center. But this time, instead of weakening the shields, the energy was absorbed, channeled, and redirected through the ship's newly revealed systems. "Shield stabilizing at 40%, Jin reported with surprise. "The adaptive matrix is learning their weapon frequencies in real time now." "Return fire," ordered Admiral Kim. "Precision strikes only. Target their secondary weapon emplacements first." The thunderstorm's kinetic accelerators fired for the first time in the battle, launching specialized projectiles that slipped through the Zolari shields as if they weren't there. Each impact was precise, disabling weapon systems without causing catastrophic damage. "Their port weapons array is offline," Sungmin reported. "Targeting starboard array now." The Zolari vessel tried to evade, but the thunderstorm matched its movements with unexpected agility for a ship its size. Another volley of kinetic rounds struck home, neutralizing more of the alien vessel's offensive capabilities. "They're trying to remodulate their shields," Minjae announced, "but our targeting systems are predicting their changes." Admiral Kim nodded. "The combat evolution system is working as designed. Their tactics are being analyzed and countered in real time." The void cutter suddenly accelerated, attempting to circle behind the human vessel. But the thunderstorm pivoted with impossible precision, its gravitational engines allowing maneuvers that defied conventional physics. "They're transmitting," Jiho called out. "Audio only." The voice of the Zolari commander filled the bridge, his translator barely keeping up with his rapid speech. "What is this? Your vessel's capabilities were not in any Earth records?" "Perhaps," Admiral Kim replied calmly. "You should have spent less time mocking us and more time understanding us." A final volley from the thunderstorm disabled the void cutter's main engines, leaving the mighty Zolari warship drifting in space, most of its systems offline. "Their weapons and propulsion are neutralized," Sungmin reported. "They're defenseless." Admiral Kim stood from his command chair. "Open a channel to the conclave moderator." When the willowy veteran appeared on screen, the Admiral spoke clearly. "The trial is complete. The human vessel has prevailed. We have honored the terms of the challenge by using non-lethal force only. The moderator's expression was unreadable. Acknowledged. The outcome will be reported to the conclave assembly. As the transmission ended, the bridge crew erupted in cheers. Admiral Kim allowed them their moment of celebration before raising his hand for silence. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We've earned humanity a seat at the table, but the real work starts now." He turned to Commander Park. "Prepare the evidence Chief Kwan discovered. It's time the entire conclave learned about the corruption at its core." As the thunderstorm moved away from the combat zone, the central view screen showed hundreds of observer vessels still watching in stunned silence. Today, humanity had demonstrated not just advanced technology, but restraint and precision that many older species had forgotten. The galaxy would never laugh at Earth again.